Young's modulus. Young's modulus. Young's modulus. Namaskar and welcome to the Vidyarjan Coaching Classes YouTube channel. Now we are in a series in which we are giving you videos just to give a crux and just to give a revision of all the most important topics and subjects of the RRBJ and SSCJ examination. So under that particular series, we are now hitting our second video on our subject strength of material, right? So I have divided this chapter into five most important topics which are most recurrent when we solve previous year question papers. So just for the small clarification, this is not a detailed video. The strength of material subject is in itself a very huge subject. You need to study a lot, but my aim and motive for this video is just to give us crux of the subject, just to give you the most important points of the subject, so that you can feel confident about the subject, and if you have the time, you can study more, right? So the first topic is the general formula of the strength of material. So we all know that stress is equals to force upon area, right? This is the symbol. Strain is equals to delta L upon L. Delta L is the increased length. When we apply certain stress, obviously some length will be increased. So increased length upon the initial length is the strain. Then we have the proportionality limit. We have the Young's modulus. E is equals to stress upon strain. This thing is valid up to proportionality limit. What is this? We'll see in the graph, right? Then we have the Poisson ratio. Poisson ratio is delta D upon D upon delta L upon L. Now what's this? Suppose you have a material and suppose you stretch it. Obviously the length will increase, and with the length, right? Obviously the length will increase, and with the length, what will happen is there will be some decrease in the diameter, right? The diameter will become thin and thin. So that decrease in diameter upon D whole upon delta L upon L, right? That thing will give you the Poisson ratio. Generally, the Poisson ratio lies between -1 to -0.5, right? This is the general range of the Poisson ratio. Now, two more important formulas that I think that should be mentioned is the value of deformation, with its own self weight, and the value of deformation of a tapering rod. So with its own self weight, it is PL upon 2AE. P being the weight, L being the length of the bar, A is the area of cross section, and E is the Young's modulus. So this is the deformation under its own self weight. And we talk about the tapering bar, it's 4PL pi D1 D2 into E, right? So this is the important formula and things from the general. Now let's talk about the graph. Now this graph is very important, and just for the clarification, this is the graph for the very ductile material. So for the example, we can take mild steel. So for a ductile material like mild steel, this graph holds good. For a brittle material, the graph will go like this and it will break, right? So this graph holds good for a brittle, for a ductile material, right? Okay, good to go. Now, O to A is the proportionality limit, the limit till which this equation holds good, right? Then we have O to B is the elastic limit. Elastic limit in the sense, when you stretch something and when you release it, it should come back to its original position, right? So O to B is that elastic limit. The moment you cross the B point, then there would be a certain permanent deformations, and then that certain permanent deformation is due to the yielding of the material. So what we say is the lower yield point and the upper yield point, right? So B is the upper yield point and C is the lower yield point. After the yielding point limit crosses, definitely your substance will have some permanent deformation. Then we have the ultimate stress, and this is the maximum stress a material can handle. And once that limit is reached, the material will start to neck. It will start to become thinner in a particular area, and it will be fractured. So F is the fracture point, right? So this graph is very important. I hope the content is visible to you. Now the next topic is thermal stress. Now to understand thermal stress, you need to first understand that if you take a metal and if you increase the temperature of the surrounding around the metal, obviously the metal will expand, right? Obviously the metal will expand. Now, just out of the common sense, if your metal is resting on the plate or over a surface which is not having any external external restrictions, it is just laying down like this. So when you increase the temperature, obviously the length will increase, and once the length will increase, right, but since there is no obstruction or anything, the rod will also increase freely. And if there is a free movement, there is no stress. But when I talk about that, suppose this is the rod and this is between the two fixed support, and now when I am increasing the temperature, right, or when I am decreasing the temperature, this rod will expand or contract. Now when it will expand, it will try to push the wall, right, it will try to push the wall. So when it is trying to push the wall, right, so it will experience some certain amount of stress. And when it is contracting, it will try to pull the wall, again it is also experiencing certain amount of stress. So in such situations, you have the wall will the object will experience the stress. In general, the most common question asked is, what is the thermal stress when the object is kept free? So whenever you see the term free, it's 0, right? Keep this thing clear in your mind. Now the next thing is the Euler column. Now what is Euler column formulae? Suppose this is a column, right, and you are applying certain amount of force, right? You are applying certain amount of force. So obviously after the certain amount of force, this column will buckle, right? So this should be a long column. For short columns, we have a certain different set of formula, right? For the long columns, the critical force after which the buckling will start, right? The buckling will start. Not to explain buckling, I'll try to show you. Suppose this is my column and I'm applying force. So after certain amount of force, what will happen? As you can see, this phenomenon is buckling, right? So it will happen after certain critical pressure, critical force. The formula of the critical force is as shown in the board. As far as JEE examinations are concerned, the numerical part is very less, but you can write down the formula for your own notes. So these are the 4 formulae. Alright. Now next formula is the torsional torsion in the shaft. Now what is shaft? First of all, shaft is a cylindrical object, right, which gives you the rotation movement in the motors or generators. The long rod, right, which moves, or which is being made to move in the case of motor, is known as a shaft. When you put some propeller or fan in the front of shaft, you'll get air, right? So the shaft will experience certain amount of torsional force, right? Certain amount of torsion it will experience, right? Can you see it? Certain amount of torsion. Now torsional force can be calculated with the help of this very beautiful formula. It's very important as well. T upon J is equals to tau upon R is equals to G theta upon L. Now what is it? Let me tell you. T is the torsional force, right? J is the polar moment of inertia, and the one formula itself is the pi by 32 d square for the solid shaft and pi by 32 capital D square minus small d square for the hollow shaft. Good to go? Right. Then T by J is equals to tau by R. Tau is the shear stress. R is the radius of the shaft, the outer radius, right? Don't take the inner radius in the case of hollow shaft. Is equals to G theta by L. G is the shear modulus, right? Shear modulus will be given to you in the question. It's a constant. Theta is the angle of deformation. Suppose this is the initial position, and if I deform, there is certain amount of angular deformation from the axis. So that angle of deformation upon the length of the rod is G theta by L. So T upon J is equals to tau upon R is equals to G theta upon. So it's very important formula, very good formula. So that's it. These were the 5 points that I think that in the strength of material subject are very important, and the purpose of this video series is just to give you a crux of the subject, right? You can dwell in much details, it's up to you, but as far as the JEE examinations are concerned, we should not go in much detail. We should focus more on the previous year questions and the important topics. I'll be bringing more such videos on more subjects. So in the meantime, please do share, subscribe and like our YouTube channel, and waiting for you guys for the next one. Thank you.